So with the 15th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots selected Mac Jones out of Alabama. And despite Bill Belichick stating that Cam Newton is still the starter for the Patriots, it's pretty safe to assume that at some point in this season, Mac Jones will take over. So I've come up with 3 spots where I think he could potentially take over for the Patriots. Let's start talking about it. So anytime a rookie quarterback takes over mid-season, it's always an interesting decision. If you start them too late and you are attempting to make the playoffs, you risk upsetting the chemistry of the team. If you start them too early, however, you could throw them into the fire before the team has things truly figured out. So I came up with 3 spots. One of which would be somewhat illogical, thinking through the heart. 2 of which make significantly more sense to me. So, the first spot I could see him realistically starting is versus Tampa Bay, ironically enough. Sunday, October 3rd at 8:20 p.m. Why? Revenge game. I think out of last season and this season, this is the game Belichick wants the most. He wants to beat Tom Brady. And what better way to do it than with his successor? Because let's be honest here, we know Stidham isn't next quarterback for the Patriots. So this also makes sense on a number of other levels. It is a home game, which is always a positive. You don't really want to throw a quarterback out onto the road in his first ever NFL career start. That can be very demoralizing. With Tampa Bay being the, reigning champs, that is a bit of an issue for me because they're just freaking amazing. And if he comes in with a loss, that could get to his morale very easily, especially seeing as how when he did start at Alabama, he lost, 1 game? So that could be an issue to me, is the fact that Tampa Bay is a good football squad, and I would hate to see him get demoralized so quickly in the season. So the next spot I could see him potentially starting is actually Week 5 at Houston. So the reason for this one is Houston is not a very good football team anymore. Deshaun Watson might play, he might not play. We don't know yet. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. The defense is not anything special. If we were able to, say, insert Mac Jones into an easy Week 5 win after a tough Week 4 loss with Cam Newton as the quarterback, that sounds like a pretty good bridge for me. Cam Newton loses Game 4, you can put in Mac Jones for Game 5 and start fresh. Everyone's happy. So this is at Houston, which could potentially be an issue because it would be a hostile environment. However, at the same time, it is Houston Texans, and they have not been very good at football. I don't think they will be good at football at all this season either. I think they're going to be the worst team, actually. But this spot makes a lot of sense to me, honestly. Fairly early in the season, so that the quarterback, Mac Jones in particular, can gain confidence in his offense if they make a playoff push. So that's just one interesting spot for me. Now, the next spot I have picked out is versus Tennessee, Week 12. So, what's special about this one? Well, Week 11, the New England Patriots play the Atlanta Falcons Thursday, 28-3, never forget. And then next week they play the Titans Sunday, November 28th. So that's a 10-day break in between the Falcons and the Titans. And I feel like that'd be a very smart time to insert him into the schematic of the team, in a sense. So I toyed around with having him start at Atlanta, actually, but I just wasn't a huge fan of him starting at a hostile road environment, along with Atlanta being a average-ish, average to below average squad, and the fact that he would not have a ton of time to prepare with only 4 days. I just wasn't a huge fan of Atlanta as a starting point, so I went with Tennessee. He would get 10 days to prepare. It is a home game, so that's a very good thing. Not a ton of pressure. There's nothing super special about Tennessee. I mean, obviously it has a ton of expatriate connections, but it's not like Belichick is out to beat Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry any more than he is to beat Matt Ryan, if you get what I'm saying here. So I think that'd be a really good spot to start Mac Jones is versus Tennessee, get him the extra prep time. The downside to this is Tennessee is likely going to make the playoffs again. They're a very good squad, and that could be a potential issue, as I talked about him getting demoralized. But I don't think it will be a huge issue. as big of an issue as it was with Tampa Bay, at least. So ultimately, where do I think he ends up starting? I can see Week 5 at Houston. I feel like that's the most realistic. So the reason for this being, I can see Cam Newton leading them into the Tampa Bay game, losing a close game, and Belichick just making the swap over to Mr. Mac Jones. It makes perfect sense to me to start him against Houston. He could likely get a win in his first NFL start. That just makes no sense to me. It's away, so he would be accustomed to the hostile environment. Hopefully he can win. We should find out. But that just makes no sense to me overall. Is number 5, week numero 50 at Houston, Sunday, October 10th. That's when I think Mac Jones could make his potential start. That's what makes the most sense to me personally. So yeah, that's about it. Make sure you all subscribe. I'm posting videos again, so that's cool. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all around. Peace.